The text came while I was in a board meeting, presenting quarterly projections to investors. My phone buzzed insistently on the conference table until I finally flipped it over. Mom, just wanted to let you know Jasmine's wedding invitations went out today. So excited. I smiled politely at the investors and continued my presentation, making a mental note to congratulate my cousin later. It wasn't until I was in the elevator afterward that the second text came through. Mom, DTO, we use your beach house address. Hope that's okay. I stopped so abruptly that someone bumped into me getting off the elevator. My beach house. The one I'd saved for 10 years to afford. The one I painstakingly renovated with my own hands every weekend for 2 more years. The sanctuary I'd never even invited most of my family to visit. My hands shook as I typed back, "What do you mean, use my address?" The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before her response came. Mom, for the wedding venue, silly. Jasmine fell in love with it from the photos on your Instagram. 150 guests. June 15th. Going to be perfect. June 15th, 3 weeks away. I called her immediately. She answered on the second ring, breathless with excitement. Elena, did you get my texts? Isn't it wonderful? Jasmine is just over the moon. Mom, I interrupted. Please tell me you're joking. About what, honey? About planning a 150-person wedding at my house without asking me. Silence. Then that little laugh she did when she thought I was being difficult. Oh, Elena, it's not like that. It's family. And you have all that space just sitting empty most weekends. Because I work in the city during the week and use weekends to decompress. Alone, at my private property. Private property? From family? Her voice took on that wounded tone I knew so well. I thought we raised you better than that. Family shares. Sharing implies being asked first. Well, I'm asking now. No, you're telling me, after sending invitations, with my address. Don't be dramatic. It's one day, one special day for your cousin. Are you really going to ruin her wedding over this? There it was, the guilt card, played with expert precision. I'm not ruining anything. You are, by planning an event at someone else's home without permission. I don't understand why you're being so selfish. That house is practically a family treasure anyway. I bought that house, with my money, from my job. It's not a family anything. Your grandfather's friend sold it to you below market value. He sold it to me at market value for a tear down, which is what it was. I rebuilt everything myself. With help from your uncles, who I paid, at contractor rates, which they negotiated up twice. She huffed. I don't have time for this, Elena. The invitations are sent. People have made travel plans. The caterer is booked. We'll discuss it at Sunday dinner. She hung up. I stood in my office, staring at my phone. The caterer was booked. Travel plans were made. My house had been volunteered as a wedding venue, and I just found out. I pulled up Instagram, scrolling to Jasmine's page. There it was, posted 2 hours ago, a photo of the invitation. Elegant cream cardstock with gold lettering. Please join us at Moonrise Beach House, with my full address printed below. The comments were already flooding in. Can't wait, such a beautiful venue. Your cousin is so generous. Generous. Right. I called my lawyer. Tom, it's Elena. I need you to draw up some paperwork, quickly. Sunday dinner was at my parents' house as always. The dining room was buzzing with wedding excitement when I arrived. Jasmine rushed over to hug me, eyes bright. Elena, thank you so much for letting us use your house. It's going to be perfect. I gently extracted myself. Jasmine, we need to talk about. I know. Mom said you had some concerns. But don't worry, we'll handle everything. You won't have to lift a finger. We've got the caterer, the flowers, the band. The band. Just a small one. They'll set up on the deck. Oh, and we'll need to clear out some furniture from the main room for dancing. Jasmine. Girls, dinner's ready. My mom called out, conveniently interrupting. The meal was torture. Everyone talked about the wedding, the decorations, the guests, the timeline. My beach house was discussed like it was community property. My aunt mentioned hanging lights from those gorgeous beams in the living room. My uncle offered to help move that ugly modern art to make room for the gift table. That ugly modern art was a piece I'd commissioned from a local artist. It cost more than their car. So, my father finally addressed me directly. What time should everyone arrive for setup? They shouldn't, I said quietly. The table went silent. What? My mother's voice was sharp. They shouldn't arrive at all. There isn't going to be a wedding at my house. The explosion was immediate. Everyone talked at once. Selfish. Heartless. Family values. How could I do this to Jasmine? I let them wind down before speaking again. I've rented my house out for that weekend. Dead silence. You, what? My mother's face was turning red. I have a rental agreement with a lovely couple from Seattle. They've paid in full. 3-day minimum at my peak season rates. Cancel it. Jasmine wailed. Can't. Contract is binding. They'd sue. How much? My uncle demanded. We'll pay them to go somewhere else. $15,000. Plus the penalty clause would be another 10. $25,000 total. Cash. Jasmine went pale. I knew she and her fiancé were already stretched thin on their wedding budget. You did this on purpose, my mother accused. I did this because it's my property and I decide how it's used. You made plans without consulting me. I made plans without consulting you. Seems fair. When did you even list it for rent? My father asked suspiciously. 3 days ago. Amazing how fast waterfront properties book in summer. 3 days ago. Right after Mom told you about the wedding. What a coincidence. You're really going to ruin your cousin's wedding over pride? My aunt was crying now. She's been dreaming of a beach wedding her whole life. There are dozens of beach venues available, actual wedding venues, with staff and insurance and proper permits. Permits? My uncle frowned. Oh, did no one think about permits? Noise ordinances? Liability insurance? The HOA restrictions on events over 30 people. I pulled out my phone. Should I read the relevant sections? The fines start at $5,000. We'll be discreet. With 150 guests, a band, and catering trucks, I'm sure the neighbors won't notice at all. Especially Mrs. Garrett, the HOA president who lives next door and has my phone on speed dial. You're making this up, Jasmine accused through tears. You just don't want me to have a nice wedding. I want you to have a lovely wedding, at an actual venue, that you've paid for, like adults do. Not everyone has your money, Elena, my mother snapped. The Veterans Hall by the beach rents for $800. The State Park Pavilion is $1,200. Both have ocean views. Both are available on the 15th. I checked. It's not the same. You're right, they have parking, and bathrooms for 150 people, and don't risk destroying someone's home. It's one day. My father slammed his hand on the table. One single day for family. If I'd been asked, I might have said yes, to a small gathering, with proper insurance, and a real agreement about damages. I stood up. But I wasn't asked. I was told, via mass-produced invitation. Where are you going? Mom demanded. Home, to my apartment, where no one plans events without my knowledge. Elena, if you walk out that door, what? You'll plan another wedding at my house. I left to the sound of shouting and Jasmine's sobs. The next 2 weeks were a masterclass in family manipulation. I received 47 text messages about ruining Jasmine's life, 23 calls about family loyalty, 15 Facebook posts that I was tagged in about some people valuing property over people, 8 emails with photos of Jasmine crying, 3 attempted ambushes at my office. Security turned them away. 1 petition signed by extended family asking me to do the right thing. I responded to none of them. On June 14th, my phone rang. Tom, my lawyer. The renters just called. Your family is at the house. I'd expected this. How many? They said about 12 people, with a truck. They're unloading what looks like tables and chairs. Did the Johnsons call the police? Not yet. They called me first, as you asked. Tell them to proceed as we discussed. I'm on my way. The 3-hour drive gave me time to think, to remember how I'd scrimped and saved, how I'd eaten ramen for months to afford the down payment, how I'd spent every vacation day for 2 years doing renovations, how my family had mocked my shack until I transformed it into something magazine-worthy. I arrived to find chaos. Wedding supplies were stacked on my lawn. My family members were arguing with a very patient police officer. The Johnsons, my renters, stood on the deck looking concerned. Elena, my mother spotted me first. Thank God. Tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Officer, I said calmly, I'm the homeowner. These people are trespassing. Elena. The chorus of shock from my family was almost musical. Ma'am, the officer addressed me, can you confirm these people don't have permission to be here? That's correct. I have a rental agreement with Mr. and Mrs. Johnson for this weekend. These people are interfering with my lawful tenant's quiet enjoyment of the property. This is insane. My uncle stepped forward. We're her family. We're just setting up for a wedding. A wedding I didn't authorize on my property. Miss Martinez, the officer said patiently, if you want them removed, they need to leave. Now. But the wedding is tomorrow. Jasmine appeared from behind the truck, wedding dress in her arms. Elena, please, everything's paid for. Everyone's flying in. Which is why I suggest you start calling the backup venues I texted you 2 weeks ago. You texted her venues? My aunt looked stunned. Of course I did. I'm not a monster. The beach club has a last-minute cancellation. It's actually nicer than my house and includes catering setup. It's $3,000, which is what you would have cost me in HOA fines alone. Ladies and gentlemen, the officer interrupted. I need you to reload your vehicles and leave. Now. The Johnsons, who were actually my friends from college, played their part perfectly. Looking distressed, checking their watches, mentioning their anniversary trip being ruined. It took 2 hours to get everything reloaded. 2 hours of guilt trips, accusations, and Jasmine crying in her mother's arms. I stood there through it all, unmoved. Finally, as the last car prepared to leave, my mother approached. I hope you're happy, she said coldly. You've torn this family apart. No, Mom. I enforced a boundary. There's a difference. She's your cousin. And I'm your daughter. But that didn't stop you from treating my property like a free venue. We would have been careful. Like Uncle Rob was careful when he broke my garage door and never paid to fix it. Like Aunt Sarah was careful when she borrowed my kayaks and returned them with holes. Like you were careful when you gave copies of my house key to half the family without asking. She flinched. That was for emergencies. Planning a wedding isn't an emergency, it's an imposition. Family doesn't impose. Exactly my point. She left without another word. The Johnsons and I watched the last car disappear down the road. Thanks for playing along, I said, exhausted. Are you kidding? Mark Johnson grinned. This was better than dinner theater. Alice got it all on video for you, just in case you need it. You're lifesavers. Nah, just friends who understand boundaries. Now how about we help you check for any damage and then leave you to your weekend? You don't have to leave. Stay, enjoy the beach. Just, quietly. Alice hugged me. You sure you're okay? I will be. Once I change the locks, again. The wedding, I heard later, happened at the beach club. It was beautiful. Jasmine looked radiant. The photos were stunning with the ocean backdrop. No one spoke to me for 3 months. When they finally did, it was Jasmine who broke first. She called on a random Tuesday. Elena, I wanted to say thank you. 4. The beach club, it was perfect. Better than what I'd planned. They had real bathrooms and a dance floor, and we didn't have to worry about parking. I'm glad. And I'm sorry. About everything. I got caught up in the free venue idea and didn't think about what it meant to you. Thank you for saying that. Do you think, could I come see your house sometime, the real way, as an invited guest? I smiled. I'd like that. Just you and David. We'll have lunch on the deck. Really? Really. Just call first, okay? She laughed. I promise. No surprise visits. Ever. It was a start. The family grudge lasted longer, but eventually they realized I wouldn't cave to emotional manipulation. Some relationships recovered. Others didn't. But my beach house, it remained my sanctuary, my rules, my space. And every time I sat on my deck, watching the sunset over the water I'd worked so hard to see, I knew I'd made the right choice. Boundaries aren't about being mean. They're about being honest about what you will and won't accept. Even from family, especially from family.